Governor of Kebbi State, Nasser Idris, has confirmed the successful rescue of 24 schoolgirls abducted from Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, Mega in Danko, Wasagu local government area. Now, the kidnapped girls before dawn on Monday, 17th of November, were freed through what the governor described as non-kinetic efforts led by the military in collaboration with security agencies. Now, speaking to journalists in Burning Kebbi, Governor Idris said the students will officially be handed over to the state government by security operatives today. Now, he assured the public that no ransom was paid, emphasizing that the rescue results from strategic operations, intelligence, coordination. Now, Governor Idris further thanked President Bola Tinubu and others, noting that the federal government remained proactive and fully committed during the crisis. Joining us via Zoom from Benin is the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Kasim Afebua. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. So we start with a breath of a fresh air. It's good to see that, these girls have been freed. They didn't get to stay so long and they were freed. And we see that it was a non-kinetic, no ransom was paid. But now that these girls are out, the question that will fall out to us is that at what point do we finally stop, this kidnapping of girls from school? The question is that will these girls be able to go back to school? Because we hear that, in the rural areas, some schools have been closed because of fear that bandits will come and take the girls. So we just want to look at all of these aspects. But first of all, I want you to take us through, the rescue of these girls, the non-kinetic, that was used to bring them out. But most importantly, their life after this. Will they be able to go back to school freely and be secured in school?
Thank you very much. This is quite a very disturbing news in terms of the upscale of kidnap activities and abduction of schoolgirls and persons in the country, particularly in the northern part of the country. Whatever measure the government has taken to get the release of those girls is a welcome development. I'm happy. But as much as we're happy with the release of this, we had about another abduction in Kano yesterday again. It's a whole lot of problem for us, a whole lot, because there are huge gaps in terms of the makeup of these persons who have turned themselves to bandits. The ulterior motive and the political motive of all of this, particularly happening at this time, is also, is also questionable. I've had discussions with top government functionaries, top military officers, and all of that, and some of them confirmed to me that it's essentially politically motivated, actions by these persons. They just want to, humble the president, to bring him down, to cripple his government and tell him that he's not in charge. But I like the fact that there is quick response from the president's side. But more worrisome is the fact that when you kidnap girls and you secure their release, I also want to hear casualties on the other side. Casualties in terms of those who have kidnapped these girls. If we know their location, once we secure the freedom of these girls, do we still allow them to keep freely moving across forest to forest, rural community to rural communities, and all of that? I think it's about time we take precipitate action against all of these bandits, because oftentimes people tell you they know their location, but they don't want to go there. And this is what is fueling the desire to have the Americans to come and help us, so to speak. You see some people talking so loudly about this because they feel that we are treating this bandit with kid gloves. So for me, it's a call to action. It's a wake-up call to all of us. We have secured this one. We have to prevent the other ones. They say ransom was not paid. Thank God. If ransom is paid, they will see it as business. And if they see it as business, they will continue to endure in that business because they want money to survive. So when I say it's a huge problem on our hands, it's because the gap in education, particularly between the northern and the southern part of the country, is quite much, and that is what is fueling some of these things. Because a normal, sane person will not just go out and say banditry is not a profession that you want to exploit and explore to make ends meet. contemporary world, we want to see people gladly engage in, civilized conduct, not necessarily taking banditry as a profession. So it's quite disturbing, and government must have, a rolling plan on how to mitigate, the incidences of this nature.
Oh, well, there's a school of thought that believes that government has been dealing with the symptoms and not the main ailment, And if government would see these bandits as employees and go for the employers, that we're going to cover more grounds as far as success is concerned. How do you react to that?
Well, you may be dealing with the symptoms because of the peculiar nature of our geographical situation. We have large expanse of lands that are ungoverned. You have forests here, forests there. There are limited access to modern, up-to-date technologies that you can use to determine and dictate with the locations of these persons. And even if you detect them, where is the political will? Where is the moral suasion to take, action that will be desirable? And people, try to compare what the Americans did when they came to pick one kidnapped American, sometimes 3 or 4 years ago in Nigeria, and the kind of sophistication that was deployed. But again, you have people who are also sympathizers of this banditry. You have people who have been speaking for them. And that is why it's difficult for you to know who is your friend and who is your foe in terms of dealing with bandits, and even when you are discussing, because you don't know those who are profiting from it. That's why I personally crave the attention of Mr. President that they should expose those identified sponsors of banditry, insurgency, and what have you that they mentioned earlier on, so that Nigerians will begin to look inward and know exactly where our problems lie. Because this present one, I've had discussions with top government functionaries and certain names have been mentioned and all that. And my first instinct was, why not just call them, expose them? This is what they are doing. We don't have to treat these persons with kid gloves. If it has become a profession, we must know those who are also aiding them, those who are recruiting people into the profession, and those who are the operators of the profession, so to speak.
In the investors.
But that banditry is not condoned.
That's right.
You see a situation in Castina, for example. They tell you bandits are coming to attend wedding ceremony. They are carrying guns. They are carrying other weapons, and they are gladly saying they want to operate for 3 hours before they escape to their forest. They will do it, and one of them will get married, and they will leave. No confrontation from any security apparatus or whatever. So it becomes worrisome that this is like an organized crime and all that. There was an incident sometimes about 3 years ago where they were preparing to go for an onslaught against bandits, and some of the soldiers, their commander was briefing them, and before you know it, telephone numbers of those guys, their phone were ringing, and when the commander picked one of the phone, the caller from the other side was asking, "What route do you want to take? What route? What route?" So that we know how to.
Wow! Absolutely. Yeah, Mr. Febwa, exactly the same question I was going to ask you, because the Kebbi governor, at the time when the children were kidnapped, that recent kidnapping, thank God, majority of them are back. It is so sad. He said that the soldiers guarding that particular school, got an order to withdraw from the school, and like less than 30 minutes or thereabout thereafter, then the school was attacked and the kidnapping and all of that happened, so much so that lives were lost. This is not the first time we've had this. You've also just given us an example of similar incidences happening back in the day. Who are these saboteurs? Or do you believe that there are saboteurs within the Nigerian army? The security personnel are supposed to help us go to bed at night with our 2 eyes closed. is it that we are not doing enough to fish out these bad elements among the security agencies? And what kind of collaborations do we have with the criminals?
Well, they said it is very difficult to unravel the mind's construction on the face. So even those who are seated with you when you are discussing, you don't know where their sentiments lie. You don't know where their interests also lie. In most situations, under a security formation, there's
Can you hear us, sir? Okay.
And that low ranger coalescing formation takes action that oftentimes are precipitate. So, can you hear me?
Carry on.
Yeah. Carry on, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Carry on. We can hear you.
Mr. Febua, we can hear you.
Okay. So what I'm saying in essence is that the people who are operating, the military, for example, the soldiers and all that, we must revisit their welfare system, the welfare system. We must revisit what kind of allowances we give to them, particularly those who are in the front line, who are, working day and night to ensure that the forest is secure, the communities are safe and all of that. Because when you listen to conversations around these persons, it is not that government is not voting enough money.
Yeah.
In fact, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, the military got about 1.4 trillion in this last budget. And so if you are getting so much money and the concomitant effect of that is not being felt, then it becomes a problem. If people are on the firing line and they are working assiduously to ensure the safety of lives and property, chances are that you should pay them handsomely. Government can decide to take, a deliberate and conscious effort to do a direct line funding to those who are on the firing line, because this system of obey before complain, which is peculiar with all of these military and paramilitary organizations, also don't help matters. You see the big boys, the big military officers, you see them with all kind of church property here and there, the bus, and then the guys who are really doing the job on the line, you see them in squalor. So we must begin to revisit the reward system, the remuneration system, so that the motivation to play the role of a saboteur will not be there. Because it is when they think that they can get certain pecuniary, gains from all of these activities that they sustain this practice, which is very unhealthy. I remember an incident in between Okene and Lokoja some time ago when the police and the military combined together apprehended the kidnappers that were terrorizing that area. And it will shock you that when they profile the phone calls of those kidnappers, the DPO in Osara, as it was then, was involved. So there are quite a number of saboteurs in this system because of the monetary gain that they get from all of this. Yeah. So oftentimes when you call the military or the soldiers, oh please, this thing is happening, what you get is some kind of layback response. The governor of Kebbi was saying that they got intelligence and they informed the military. Then the question should now be, who authorized the withdrawal of those military from that school?
Yeah.
Have we seen the culprits? Have they been held responsible? There should be example of how to deal with those who are betrayers or saboteurs, of the system.
Exactly.
Because we cannot continue to agonize over this, and before you know it, we forget everything. And you see, in Nigeria, things are being seen from north and south, perspective, instead of being seen from the Nigerian perspective. We still don't see ourselves as one country. So why certain persons, and all of this translates even into the military, into the police formation and all of that. So who are you posting to a particular at one point or the other?
Let me come to you here, and I'm just going to do some follow-ups with, things that you have said from answering our questions. You said that, they know where these people are, but at the end of the day, they cannot go there. The reasons why they said they cannot go there is because of innocent lives. For example, they cannot strike a place and innocent villagers that have nothing to do with it, will die. So collateral damage is another thing that they're trying to avoid, and these bandits know that. Also, you made a statement that, you were somewhere and some names were being mentioned, and you were wondering and you were asking them that, why are you not saying these names? As a communications person as well, I don't know, maybe you want to share. Have you ever thought about sharing the names, just taking the bull by the horn as a patriotic Nigerian and just going ahead to share the names?
I don't have the power, Anthony. As a communication person, you know also that you have to protect the source of your information, and you also don't have to expose.
But if that information will help us crop out these criminals, if that information will help to stop insecurity in Nigeria, what's your take?
It's not the public that will address the issue. It is the security people. They're already aware of the names.
Okay, so they know the names. The security people know the names.
Some of these names, and they are taking deliberate action about that. Very soon, you'll get to hear quite a number of these persons. But It is important that government, develop some level of courage to call sponsors. Sponsors of some of these activities. They should name them. They should mention them, so we begin to see them and know the kind of role they are playing in our society. Because we need peace and security to govern this country. We need peace and security to stabilize the system. We need peace and security to be able to even deliver on electoral promises.
Okay. But just a quick one as well for our schoolgirls, now that they've been released, them going back to school, what are the preparations that have been made? Would they even be comfortable to learn in their classroom again?
Well, the fear factor will certainly set in. But again, this is almost becoming like a normal life in the northern part of the country. We have been hearing all kinds of abduction, kidnapping, and all of that. It's becoming like a vocation. And so those who are you don't ever hear that they kidnap boys in the school. They only go for girls' school because they know that they are much vulnerable. Again, it will certainly tell on the huge gap between the boys who are the bandits and the girls who are ready to learn. So if we must move forward, we must begin to carry out programs and policies that to deepen attitudinal reorientation of minds of persons. If we are able to negotiate, for example, quote and unquote, negotiate with bandits who have kidnapped schoolgirls, it means that they still have a heart to listen to voice of reason. And if after you have released the innocent person that have been kidnapped, I expect a precipitate action to be taken to rout them where they are. They cannot be wanderers. They have certain locations and all of that. And the military and other paramilitary organizations should collaborate, build synergy, and see what they can do to begin to confront all of this person. But when you see them, oftentimes you see mature videos, they are riding bikes, they are traveling on good road network and all of that. Then you begin to ask yourself, where's our military? So quite a number of, but it's a huge challenge on our hands. And I don't envy President Tinubu at all, because this is a deliberate action to rattle him. I know he's a man of conviction, he's a man of courage, and I'm sure he will take certain precipitated actions in no time.
All right. The brazen way this thing is happening now calls to question the security arrangement in Nigeria, the security, should I say, architecture. Right now, security looks more federal than local, and crimes are local. I, for one, I would recommend multi-layered security structure. Would you agree to that, sir?
This discussion keeps coming up, and I think it's becoming more and more contemporary, more and more relevant for us to have multi-layer security and allow state governments to have state police. Because state police, and at the local government level, you have community policing and what have you.
Yes.
If you look at the nature of our crimes, they are essentially local. I'll give you a typical example. In Edo State here, we are dealing with, so much of kidnapping cases and what have you, and we are happy that because we have deployed our local vigilante groups, captured under the Edo Security Corps, we have been able to mitigate, the recurrence of all of these unholy practices. When the governor came on board, he had to recruit 2,500 persons in one stretch, trained by the military and equipped with basic, intelligence gathering tools for them to assist policing, DSS, and the military to collect information. That has also played a very huge part in terms of the way we respond to kidnapping cases. And this Edo Security Corps and the vigilantes, they appear more courageous. They go into the forest, they comb the forest, and they apprehend all these kidnappers. And aside from that, we have also taken a step further that we are likely going to recruit more persons, maybe 200 persons per local governments, for them to be domiciled in those localities. They know the terrain better. Because when you bring somebody federal who does not understand the topography and the geographical locations of it takes time for him to get acclimatized or get used to the routes in these local governments. So I'm in support of a state policing, not looking at the other side. Someone use it as political tool to witch hunt opponents and all of that. If we continue to sustain or endure that discussion, then we're not going to make progress. Yeah. If there should be complementary law that will moderate the operations between federal police and state police, and another federal or state security apparatus.
Absolutely.
So it's about time, because we can't run away from I'm in support of federal government Forest Guard initiative. That Forest Guard initiative should quickly come on stream. So once you have state police, for national federal forest guards, and you have the police and the military, the bandits or the kidnappers will have so much to chew. And at the end of the day, they might be able to even leave the trade.
All right, Mr. February.
Oh boy.
Yeah. That being said, let's look at the politics of things, vis-a-vis the insecurity that is, ravaging the country. If you look at the House of Representatives yesterday, Honorable Adodogua made a very fierce statement saying that the National Assembly should shut down if the government is not able to, fight this insecurity, because the President Tinubu's administration is presiding, over this worsening insecurity across the country, and then it doesn't really feel happy that it looks like much has not really been done to stem in the tide. Do you feel that the achievement, the bid to achieve fragmentation within your party is now getting, getting to your party, the people among your party? Because if you look at Honorable Adodogua, is a fierce, staunch supporter of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not just being a member of the APC. So do you feel that the oppositions, or whoever is doing this, of course, criminals are oppositions of this country, do you feel that they are really, getting a hold of you, the better of you?
No. I think you must understand the perspective from which Dogoa was speaking from. He is a representative of his own, of the members of his constituents, and by extension, he has the opportunity, being a member of the National Assembly, to raise discussions that are of utmost public importance. It does not. We have to take away the politics from that, even though there are those opponents of the party, the APC, and even the government that want to see that this government crumbles. And all of this are happening because of the build-up to 2027 electoral contest. But beyond that, it's for you to ask yourself, is the president doing the right things in terms of security apparatus, security architecture, and all of that? I think he's trying very well. He has increased their budget, and he's also engaging very well. He doesn't shy away from that. Even for him to stay back at home from not attending the G20 shows the level of his concern. The National Assembly are vested with the responsibility to make laws. Are there existing laws that are suitable to mitigate incidences of this? I say yes. But are those laws being implemented to the letter? The real operators of those laws, are they up and do we have saboteurs? Do we have those who are deliberately frustrating efforts being put in place? There are. So what Dogowa was saying is the fact that they need to look inward and do a self-critique.
Exactly.
So that they can take deeper action, they can take more holistic action that will mitigate all of these unholy activities. I think the long and short of this is the fact that we need to talk to ourselves. And talking to ourselves means that we should know what is good and what is bad.
That's right.
Number one. We should also be taught and
exactly
issues from the political view. Because we're looking at the politics of it, did not South divide and all of that. They are playing out in all of this. I have interacted quite a lot with the number of persons. I've seen scenarios.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kazim. We can go on and on with this conversation. I wish we had you for a longer time. Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you for joining us on the show. One thing I must say is that we are patiently waiting for those names to be called out. You said the security operatives know the names, and we are waiting for them to be called out. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Thank you so much. Have a very pleasant day.